In this video, I'm going to show you how you can leverage AI to create bigger and better brands for your clients and cut your project times in half without compromising on quality. Most people think that a quick timeline means rush work and compromise results. But as designers, we know the truth. Most agencies still charge for time, so it's in their interest to drag the timeline out. But AI has massively shifted the landscape. And so this is your chance to take some of that agency money. I'm Greg, founder of Whisk Digital. I've been a designer for 20 years, working with large brands like WWF and Penguin Random House. A few years ago, I was a successful designer with a steady flow of work. But behind the scenes, my process was a mess. I was charging by the hour, projects would drag on for months, cash flow was a problem, and I was losing the love for the job. But today, I charge 4 times my old fees. I get paid up front, and I never work on a project longer than 21 days. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact blueprint I use to build high-ticket brands and a 5-page website in 3 weeks flat. This isn't about rushing, and it's not about smashing out an AI logo in Midjourney or vibe coding a samey website. It's about being smart about when to use AI. It's starting with a specific brand strategy that looks 3 years ahead. It's using a super optimized, repeatable system where every day is accounted for, but you don't have to work under extreme pressure. So, if you want to stop being a freelancer worried about the future and start being a high-paid strategic partner, you need to steal this process. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what happens on each of those 21 days. I'm going to show you the future-back brand strategy that allows us to charge premium fees before we design a single pixel, the AI research hack that does 2 weeks of strategy work in about 8 minutes, and the lock protocol that stops scope creep dead in its tracks, and the AI and other tools we use along the way. This is the difference between a project that drags on for months and one that is profitable, predictable, and fun. The difference between a struggling freelancer and a scalable agency isn't talent, it's process. This is mine. I'm going to tell you exactly what I do on each of the 21 days. This process is good for clients because, let's face it, entrepreneurs and business owners do not want a branding process that takes several months. They want to get back to running their business. And designers? Well, I'm sure you recognise this. A 30-second interruption costs you 20 minutes of flow, but a 3-week delay costs you the whole project's momentum and delays you getting paid. So I built a firewall around my time. Now I get to have more time off with my family, doing the things I love, and I'm energised by work projects. A few years ago, I felt I was becoming a bit of a jack of all trades. I had work, but I wasn't in control of the types of projects coming in. I wanted to work less and raise my prices, so I started working with a business coach. And I was told again and again to systematise, especially if I wanted to scale my business. When I first heard that, I was a freelancer. I was taking on anything. And I was like, how exactly? But now it makes sense. And let me tell you, having a system that works and is repeatable is a wonderful thing. You know exactly what you're doing at any one point. Things get easier and more enjoyable. And clients are attracted to that confidence and reassured by the framework and the results you're getting. So here's my system. We call this the 3-2-1 method. It stands for 3-year vision built in a 21-day sprint. We use it to transform 1 to 10 person businesses into the brand they want to be, not the brand they are today. We look 3 years ahead. By the end of the process, we'll hand over a brand strategy, brand identity, and a 5-page website. So here is exactly how we deliver 3 years of value in 21 days. And by the way, we don't work weekends. We don't expect our clients to. So we run this strictly Monday to Friday over 3 weeks. So in reality, the 21 days are actually 15 working days. This is the step that separates the pixel pushers from the strategic partners. If you skip this, you're leaving money on the table. And a lot of designers do skip this and go straight to Dribble or similar sites to do their visual research. But I'd recommend you don't do that. Strategy is what gives brand identities their meaning and power. And once we have that straight, the design phase is so much easier. If you design for who the client is today, you're designing a brand that's already out of date. But we want to over-deliver for our clients, and to do that and charge higher fees, you need to design a destination, not a decoration. Before the strategy call that kicks off the 21-day process, the client shares any brand assets they already have and completes a questionnaire. This asks them the expected questions about their business, audience, marketing, and website. But it also gets them to travel 3 years into the future. We asked them, it is exactly 3 years from today. You just landed the cover story of your industry's biggest magazine. What's the headline? We want them to step out of their current situation and into their vision. We ask about their future culture and the giants that are their competitors in that future. We also get the client to place their brand on a spectrum for different dimensions, such as mass appeal versus elite exclusive. But they're not allowed to put the sliders in the middle. We want data that informs. Once we have those answers, we schedule the strategy call, and that kicks off day one. First though, we need to look at their brand assets and marketing strategy if they have them, analyse their questionnaire answers, and do our own research ahead of the strategy meeting. And this is where AI really changes the game. We get it to act as a brand strategist, to look for the contradictions in the client responses and identify a winning brand narrative. We run another deep research prompt to gather brand identities and websites of those future competitors. As an example, we had an architect client who, in 3 years, wanted to work on residential projects with a minimum value of £2 million and shift his focus to the London market. So we needed to research the brands that were already in that space. You can see those brands here, along with the homepage of their websites. And this is all really great research. Currently, I use Gemini Pro for this, but it would have been ChatGPT a month or so ago. Of course, we don't just copy and paste all of this. We curate it, we analyse it, we categorise it, we present it with our recommendations. This means we have a plan that we take to the strategy call, a draft narrative that exposes the competitor's weakness and bridges the gap to the client's 3-year vision. So we have a 1-hour call with the client to go over any contradictions in their answers and discuss our recommendations. By the end of the meeting, we will have reaffirmed the 3-year vision and leave with approved content for a 1-page brand strategy, which we'll lay out after the meeting and then share with the client. By the way, the clients we work with are obviously all different. Some have existing brand identities, some don't. And their websites can be big, small, e-commerce or not. But our process stays the same. Brand strategy, brand identity and messaging, a 20-page brand book, and a 5-page website designed in Framer or Figma, depending on their needs. We love Framer, but if the client has a big site on another platform that they're happy with, we design 5 pages in Figma, and this can then be handed to their team, or we can take it further with them outside of the 21 days. If they're happy with Framer, we can make it live by the end of the process. E-commerce is extra. We can also create a Shopify website when the 21 days are over. Agencies love to charge for a 50-page brand Bible that sits in a drawer. We don't do that. We build a functional toolkit, a logo system, a digital guide, and a brand voice. First though, do they already have a brand identity? And if so, what works? What doesn't? So we go through the same process whether they're starting up or they've been established for years. We send 2 logo directions, colours, typefaces, imagery guidelines, the sitemap, and homepage copy by 10 AM on the first Friday. On the brand identity, AI is still a ways off being able to create professional logos, and I'd love to hear otherwise if you think I'm wrong on that, but it can help with ideation when we feed in the logos that we looked at earlier from the competitors. But I still spend time with pencil and paper, scratching my head, and anyway, I enjoy creating logos, so I'm not ready to farm that work off just yet. But Nano Banana, of course, helps by bringing the logo directions to life in mock-ups to share with the client. They can see how it is in real life. If the client has any changes, they can attend an optional meeting blocked out for 2 PM that day. By the end of day 9, this leads to the most critical moment for your sanity and bank account, the lock. Here is how we make sure that this next phase is just for building the website. On the Tuesday of week 2, we deliver the 20-page brand book, the wireframes, and the copy. And we only start building the website when these are approved. That approval is the lock. On the wireframes, we use AI to get started on those and on the copy. For the copy, we feed in the 1-page brand strategy, currently into Gemini, with a specific prompt along with our website copy template for each page of the website. And we'll then iterate before taking it over and giving it some human polish. Some clients prefer to use the templates and provide their own copy, which is also fine. For the wireframes, AI tools for jump starts change all the time, but Reloom is great, as is Wireframer in Framer. Strategy and design are useless if you can't ship. Here's how we build a high-performance website in just 5 days. And my simple answer and preference for this and the build stage is to use Framer for pretty much everything, using Wireframer, design pages, and vibe coding components with the help of a workshop. So days 10 to 17 are where I get stuck into building the site, bringing the strategy to life. And this is the fun bit. We share the homepage with the client by 10 AM on the second Friday, and they can then attend a meeting at 2 PM that day if they have changes. By day 17, we have a fully built 5-page site. The final 2 days are for testing. We check every browser, every form, every button. We run the core web vitals to make sure it's fast. We hook up Google Analytics so they have data from day one, and we do the basic on-page SEO. And then, once we're paid the outstanding 50% of the fixed fee, we hand over the keys. Now, a warning. You need 2 rules to protect your timeline. Rule number 1, the decider. The client must appoint one person with the power to say yes. If you're waiting for a committee to vote, you're going to blow that 21-day deadline. Rule 2, no scope creep. If the client asks for a new feature in week 2, the answer is, great idea. Let's do this 21-day sprint and then we'll price and schedule that feature afterwards. You preserve the deadline at all costs. We charge a fixed fee for the service, 50% down to book the slot, 50% before we go live. It's predictable for the client and it's great cash flow for us. Compressing this work into 21 days makes sense for business owners, but it makes as much sense for designers. It allows you to deliver high value, get paid, and reopen your calendar to clients without projects dragging on for months. I'll be sharing all the assets to help you deliver this process. So if that sounds good, there's a link to the waitlist in the pinned comment. So do let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in more detail. If you think your business could benefit from our 21-day transformation, you can book a call using the link below. Cheers for now.